People who commit crimes, people who do bad things, people who are having a criminal mindset, people who are harsh, people who are um, have this ability that they can harm or injure uh, children, women, men, and like the cactus has thorns. So the thorn's job is just to prick and hurt. So some minds are that evil. So they are like that because one of their bad circumstances. And sometimes it's just because they have a bad mind. And there is no justification for that. Of course, when we say that God is everywhere, now this is a very bleak statement, meaning you haven't researched into it, you haven't found it, you haven't analyzed it, you haven't done some good efforts to actually understand what God is. And then how can you say that God is everywhere? It's just a term which you heard from people, preachers, priests, gurus, books, uh, through internet. You just read or heard and now you just repeat it. So the truth is that God has not yet been understood very well by you, by your mind, by your brain. And it's just a vague term. Very, very vague. For example, until you had come to India, India was what you saw in a documentary, what you saw in a video, what you read in a book. But when you finally came here, only then you encountered this country. And then you say, okay, now I am getting to know this country. You can't say, oh, I know the country, but yet you are in a process to know this. But this can't be said about God. For that, just this one statement or maybe bunch of statements are there in your head and you just keep on repeating it. God is kind, God is compassionate, God is merciful, God is everywhere. God is this and that and this and that. So all the adjectives are there. But without any true realistic knowledge, without any true realistic experience. So, first, I would like to say this, that this is what I provoke people to go for, not the words, but the experience. So, if you are happy with the words, be my guest. But if you're not very contented with the words alone and you wish to have the first hand experience, then you'll have to be in my class more than the JNU class. GNU is good, no problem over there. But for this subject, you need to first explore. And of course, see, there are these multiple millions of viruses and bacteria and all those microorganisms. So what do? We don't worry about all those viruses. We just have our immunity amped up so that no bacteria, no virus can make us sick. So sure, there are bad people in this world, very, very bad people in this world. Beyond our imagination and acceptance, the people are like that. So what do? What we do is we increase our spiritual immunity. We increase our intelligence. We increase our wisdom so that all such bad elements are never in my periphery or around me. So let them roam about wherever, but they are not within, my circumference. That's what we can do. But sometimes maybe we have to deal with such person, in a public place, in a bus stand, in a train station, in an airport, in a plane, or maybe in a place where you are dwelling. So what to do at that time? Two things. One, just be strong enough to not get scared and not get fearful. That's one part. And the second is that no need to fight with the bad elements. But what we need is to have such a strong radar that no one dares to come in that range of ours. A rapist, a dacoit, a murderer, an arsonist, those who are doing all that horrible things. So a common question which you have just asked is, how can we see godliness in them? They are bad, sure they are bad. But you know what? See, Krishna Bhagwan, one of the incarnation of God, had taught us very well that yes, the absolute truth, I won't use the word God, I'm going to say the absolute truth, is omniscient, of course, but the body and the mind of a person is as it was trained or conditioned to be. So when Sri Krishna himself had to deal with such bad people, what did he do? Two things. One, he would try to talk to them, make some sense to them with a very friendly attitudes. But if it doesn't work and they are going to attack him or injure him or anybody who is with him, then he would not just sit silent and, if needed, in army the word used is neutralized. Then he would neutralize them. But he was an incarnation, so he had that ability, and he was the king, and he had that power in him to do that. But we, as a common humans, we don't have such ability. So the only thing is that you just have to be strong enough and understand that seeing God in everyone with their experience, with our understanding, and yet, like a surgeon, does the operation and sometimes amputates hand or foot of a person because if the gangrene has happened or some very horrible infection has happened and the life is at a stake, so they would surgically amputate hand or foot of that person to save the life. So similarly, those who realize the godliness have been working like a surgeon also for the society. One time there was a sannyasi, a Swamiji, who was walking on the road. So the Swamiji saw the snake and the passage was very narrow. So they're like confronting one another. And the snake was angry and was hissing. And the cobra's hiss is also very dangerous. So Swamiji was like, okay, you are a beautiful being, but now you are being a challenge to my being. So Swamiji did a namaste, a pranam to that cobra, and then hit him with a stick. And somehow the cobra just went away. He did the namaste. He is bowing to that snake first. But, there is a barrier of language. So he cannot tell him, he cannot teach him, he cannot say, I'm a Swamiji, you should not be behaving with me like that, you should not bite me, my life is very precious and so is yours. So he did a quick namaste and then hit the cobra, and the cobra just slithered away, just went away. So it's something like that. So I would say, one, you need to first know what God is. Two, you need to explore and experience what God is. Three, only then you would come to make these resolutions or conclusions about what to do when you meet bad people. How do I see God in that person or not see the God in that person? How to behave with that? So first, the foremost thing is that you need to enlighten your own brain. not theoretically, but through experience. Right, Sophia?